ladies. I am Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial business owner, the founder of Shealo Glow LLC, an all-natural skincare company that helps you glow from head to toe. I am a champion for your daily self-care, business care, and intentional wellness.
Hey, y'all. I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, published author, and dancing social worker who helps you upgrade yourself and community care.
Yes, together we are a podcast rooted in the 8 dimensions of wellness and the co-founders of Women Connected in Wisdom Community.
And we like to get together every week with expert guests for intentional conversations about how to be wise in business, relationships, and wellness. How do we do this?
Mm-hmm. Yes. How do we do this, right? Questions we ask every week.
Right? Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. I'm grateful. Today we are episode 125. I'm super excited to be here. And we're talking about physical wellness. So it's one of my favorite topics to talk about, especially with Shealo Glow and Volume 1. As we get ready for Volume 2, I think a lot about the work that we've done already, so I'm good. How are you?
Right. I am honestly a little sleep deprived. I am coming to y'all live today from Arden, North Carolina, ancestral land of the Cherokee. And I am here for the Alternate Roots Week conference and performances. And so I've taught interplay once with a dear friend of ours, Cecile Armstrong, and I will teach it one more time on Thursday. And excited to be able to, stream in and do the podcast from a different location. Yeah. But with that comes, new bed, lack of sleep. I was up between 3:30 and 4:30 in the morning, just,
just cause, right? Yeah.
Right.
And thinking about natural stuff, it was interesting. This earlier, I got sick, right? And usually that does not happen. And I do not like throwing up at all, right? And especially it's interesting when that happens with natural stuff. And so I told you I drank a cup of coffee, drank this Arden's Garden juice, and my stomach was like, no, thank you. Those two things do not go together, right? And so even with good things, if you do it in a certain order, if you do too much of it, it could still be a bad thing,
Right.
So physical wellness. And how do we do it? Because usually, maybe not the coffee, but the Arden's Garden juice, the immunity boost, absolutely, that should be good for you.
Well, in full transparency, I think mine was the tequila I had last night, and my body is just not like I didn't have that much, but I just I'm such a light drinker anymore. I think at 3:30 in the morning, my body was like, "Hey, wake up! We don't do that anymore. So let's get up and make sure." And it was one of those things that I was like, oh yeah, that probably wasn't a good choice. Yeah. And I think as our bodies change, as we're talking about physical wellness today, right? Like our bodies tell us different things at different times. Because used to, if I'd have had one drink of tequila or two, let's be really honest, but it'd have been no big deal, right? It is, but now my body's like, hey, you don't really do that anymore. So we're going to wake you up in the middle of the night with a little heartburn, with a little hey, let's think about all your life choices.
Right. Review everything right now.
Review everything at 3:30 in the morning. And that's just not my norm. Like I am a good sleeper and I like about 7.5 hours of sleep. So it is, when you wake up and do that in the middle of the night and maybe I should have been writing poetry or creating because all those juices are flowing since I'm here, right? Yeah, so it could be that combo, but I was more thinking of it being a work day today. So we'll see. I'd like, just to whoever's listening, I'd like to sleep through the night tonight and I can write poetry first thing in the morning. Just right. Do y'all know about that creative hour? It's about that time of the night, like 3 o'clock in the morning or 4, about 3 o'clock in the morning. It's one of the times that a lot of creatives wake up in the middle of the night and like downloads come in or inspiration comes in or, you're laying there and you're like, what's happening? And that's where ideas come, right? I have always railed against it, honestly. I'll just be real. I am always like, yeah, spirit, like if you're giving me a download, can you wait until after 6 a.m.? Like I'm a sleeper, right?
Right.
Sometimes, sometimes people even talk about like visits from people who've crossed over in the spirit world. I'm even fussy with them. I'll be real honest. I'll be like, hey, if you're trying to reach me, can you come back at 6 a.m.?
I'm on Do Not Disturb. Right. Hey, we have our preferences. I know I like at least 7.5 hours of sleep, like you said. So yeah.
Right? So we'll see. We'll see if some sleep happens. But
Yeah.
I'm really delighted to be here with about 200 artists and activists, and we are having some big conversations. And how do we take care of ourselves and our communities and our bodies and do this embodied social justice work?
Yes. That's huge.
So talking about bodies, we're talking about physical wellness today.
Especially physical, and it's difficult to say especially because all the dimensions are important, right? But when
Right.
physical goes to zero, what happens to the rest of them? So we definitely got to, the account can go to zero, financial wellness, we can work with that, right? But physical wellness goes to zero. That's a different story.
Right. And I think, of course, we're different generations and different ages, but, I think also like as you age, like it changes, right? Like I became a runner when I was I think I was 6th grade or 7th grade. I was really young.
Okay.
And my activity level has changed over the years, but also what my body can tolerate and what my body can't tolerate. Food, exercise, sleep, like it's always changing.
Tequila.
So I guess that's the thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
I will have to say I have my naturopath's approval for tequila because it is the one thing I'm not allergic to, and she said I could drink. So as we talk about that, right? And I am originally from Texas, so it's a whole thing.
I hear you though on the dietary
In moderation, folks.
It's okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but when we think about physical wellness, often in the United States, especially, you're automatically thinking about weight or exercise, right? But there's so much more that goes into physical wellness. Should I read our definition for our listeners?
Yes, please.
Let's do it. Physical wellness is the ability to maintain a quality of life that allows you to thrive in your daily activities without undue fatigue or physical stress. Physical wellness recognizes that our daily choices, habits, and behaviors have an impact on our overall health, well-being, and quality of life. Right?
Yes.
Boy, when I was younger, I could choose all kinds of things and I'd still be able to sleep, or I'd still be able to, get up and run the next morning or whatever. And that has changed a little bit. And it's interesting when we talk about those daily choices.
Yeah. So do you have something that you do when you're running now? Like what changed that you would need to do the night before if you were going to run the next day?
Well, first of all, I got to start running again. I'm walking.
Hey, that's one step at a time, right?
I am more of a, yeah. Well, for me, especially now, it's scheduling it. It is really, and I will tell you, I have learned over the years, if I don't do it first thing in the day, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It is not like used to when I was younger. I had enough flexibility in my schedule or enough oomph or whatever. Like I could go running any time of the day. Now, if it doesn't know how to happen first thing in the morning, forget about it. Like I'm really intentional with where I schedule my walks or my jogs. Yeah, let's, when I get back to them. But yeah, it's the other thing I know, just to be true about myself when we're talking about exercise, is I like the buddy system. Like I like to stack it with a friend. Like I'm going to go meet somebody and we're going to go for a walk, or we're going to meet at the aquatic center and go swimming, and making it social. And when I was training for triathlons, my husband would often train with me, or I'd be with a group. And so it wasn't, listeners know, like I love to stack things. So when it makes it social and physical wellness at the same time, it's a cool thing. Which on the flip side, when you think about eating, when you have eating restrictions, sometimes that can be a little more of a challenge, right?
That makes sense.
What about you? What do you think about?
What I think about is, well, one is this weighted bar, right? I just got this, if you can see it, weighted bar behind me. So I worked at the gym when I went to Kennesaw State, and I love weightlifting, things like that. Since COVID started, I was running 4 days a week, right? And if you guys have been listening to all 125 episodes, you know that I've toggled back and forth between running, if I'm walking more at work, right? Now that I'm in the businesses, working on running, being more in my schedule like you're talking about, and writing it down has helped. And what I would say is stretching, so stretching at night, stretching in the morning, and then just being consistent with it. You know, if you haven't been running for a while and you get back out there, you might feel like you're going to pass out, you know, the first time, or something might be a little off, you know, so just keeping that consistency.
Well, and I'm excited to talk to our guest today. And I think the other thing that, I want to talk to her about, but I knew, especially when I was training for triathlons, having body workers, right? Which is a privilege, like either knowing them or having the resources to be able to access them. But I've also found that, like, having the things you need to rebuild.
Yes.
When you're especially, and I think that's whether you're working out or not, right? I think about schedules. I think about how much we're working and sleeping or not sleeping. And I think about what are the things we need to rebuild our physical wellness. And like
So
you talk about it with Shealo Glow, right?
Yeah.
On a daily basis.
So with that, I think about like healing your skin, right? Healing your body, taking a moment to be with yourself and noticing what happened. I run into stuff a lot. So a bruise I might have known about, right? A cut that I might not have known about. But I love your idea of body workers. When I think about that, I think about chiropractors, right? I think about massage therapists, and then a spa, Jeju and sauna, something like that. When you think about body workers, who's on that list for you?
Well, I definitely think about my chiropractor. I think about acupuncturist. I think about my massage therapist, and not that I currently have one. I need to know where our guest is located. I think about Treat Your Feet in Doraville. Like anybody that's local, like we have an incredible access to a massage therapy place that is for your feet. Like it can be whole body, but it can also be your feet. And I just think about all of that. And as we're having this discussion, I just have to be really transparent. My body is like, what? Like it's been too long. And, when I start to talk about things, I don't know if anybody else, as you're listening or as if you talk about it, like the minute I say the word chiropractor, my body immediately tells me where I need, like, oh yeah, there. Right. And it's the same thing when I think about body work. I think about, okay, when was the last time you had it? And it's healthy for you. And I know for myself, and we should probably bring up our guest and have this part of the conversation, because I was just thinking about for myself, I've always thought about it as a luxury. And I don't know anymore that it should be as a luxury item. I think it may need to go under health. And so I want to have this discussion. You want to read our guest bio and bring her up?
Yes, because I will love to know her opinion on that. Okay, guys. So Ryka Terrell is our guest today. Ryka is a 41-year-old follower of Christ, mother of two, and entrepreneur. In 2012, when her son was born with eczema and allergies to red 40 dye, she became passionate about the effects harmful ingredients in our food and skincare have on our bodies. This led her to start her first wellness-related business in 2017. In 2020, she completed a massage therapy program and later launched Bliss Massage and Wellness. Please welcome Ryka Terrell.
Hello.
Hey,
there.
Ryka. Welcome.
Hi. How are you guys?
Great.
We are so delighted to have this conversation with you, Ryka.
That's what I was about to say.
So I know you could hear us when you were in the green room. So what do you think about that question? Is massage therapy a luxury, or is it part of our health regimen and a necessity?
Well, I personally believe it should be a necessity. I think that it should be a part of your regimen. I think that the benefits of it are amazing and cannot be duplicated.
Can you tell our listeners what are the physical wellness benefits of massage?
Absolutely. So some of the benefits of massage would be increased circulation, increased sleep, which I heard you mention that you were lacking since you've been out of town. So it helps your immune system, and it helps your immune system function properly. Just things like that. Pain and tension relief is also very big for massage. So massage has some really great benefits.
How often would you recommend people get a massage if they have the ability to get it whenever they quote unquote need it?
Okay. I think that varies from person to person. Personally, I don't feel like wellness is like a cookie cutter thing. I think it depends on what you're experiencing physically within your body. If you're experiencing something mentally, I would say you could do it as often as once a week if you like, or you could do it as little as once a month. But I do think it's something that should be incorporated in some sort of routine in your physical wellness.
Yeah, I definitely think about once a month. I would love to go to the chiropractor, go to the massage therapist once a month, even as a preventative measure. Hopefully I don't have any pains, and then it keeps it that way, right? But if something came up in the way I slept or something happened in that month, I know that I'm getting back to it.
A lot of people that I see regularly come in and they're usually holding their neck in some way, shape, or form. And they're like, I slept wrong. It's been 3 days since I've slept good. I need your help. So that's pretty common.
Yeah. I think I need this block pillow. I think it's the way that my neck is like leaning into the pillow, but that's another conversation.
Are you a side sleeper or a back sleeper?
I am I'm trying to switch to a back sleeper, but I'm a side sleeper right now. My neck is like, you're not a side sleeper.
Your body will thank you if you can transition to your back.
Yeah, got you.
Wait, say more about that, because I'm a side sleeper. I've always been a side sleeper.
So I too was a side sleeper until a few years ago when I suffered from like some effects of COVID, like post-COVID effects. My hips started hurting really, really badly. And I had to transition to my back. So learning that your posture will be corrected by sleeping on your back. It kind of helps your spine stay aligned. Whereas when you're on your side, if you notice, sometimes your shoulder can be like, up here close to your ear. There are a ton of ways. We can't always control our positions and our posture when we sleep. So by sleeping on your back, you kind of alleviate some of those pains that you can wake up with.
That makes sense. So we talked about massage and the benefits of massage, right? Can we go into the ingredients and the food and the products and what you did to transition from, I know we talked about laundry detergents and certain things that you had to move when you found out about the allergies that he has.
Yes. So I actually fell down the rabbit hole. When I realized that he had allergies to red number 40 dye, he was suffering from eczema. He was covered in it. And it wasn't, I've seen some kids or some adults that are covered like from head to toe, literally, and they have these itchy, red, big patches. His wasn't that bad, but I feel like it never got to that point because I was so proactive with trying to get in front of that. But it just led me to reading that a lot of the additives, a lot of the synthetic ingredients that are in a lot of these products, we're just not aware of. We're not aware that detergents are in all of our soaps, our store-bought soaps. I won't say all. I don't like to use that word, but a lot.
I hear you.
It got me to reading ingredients and learning that these things were only going to exacerbate his eczema. They weren't, no matter how much Shealo Glow, which I love, by the way.
Thank you so much.
No matter how much, shea butter, cocoa butter, anything that I would have used on his skin would have helped because I was still using that soap powder and I was still using those store-bought soaps that still contain those synthetic ingredients, detergents, dyes. So it just, it led me to the kitchen. It led me to start creating my own products and just trying to see what worked. And it honestly is not a journey that I regret. I learned so much about the products. I learned so much about our skin and our hair and our nails and things that help it thrive instead of die. So.
Yeah. And you talk about dye. I'm thinking about the perms. And we knew that perms were bad. We knew perms were bad, right? In high school, I was talking to my ex's mom about it, and she was in medical coding. And she was telling me about this layer of buildup that was inside of the skull of deceased individuals, right? After they had got years and years of perm. So that was enough for me to be like, okay, I'm going to go natural. And when I went to college, I shaved off my hair and went natural. And clearly it's been a minute, right? But to see these lawsuits about ovarian cancer, because of that's a long way from your head. But for the perm to be affecting your whole body like that, that's what I think about when you talk about the ingredients in our stuff.
Well, so your skin is your biggest organ. And so anything, like if you can't put it on your skin, you probably shouldn't put it in your mouth.
Right.
And anything that you put on your skin is definitely going to be absorbed into your bloodstream. So it's scary because I feel like here we go. we were taught, that certain things were safe.
Mm-hmm.
No one thought about ovarian cancer when I was 9. My grandmother's been putting relaxer in my hair since I was 9 years old.
Yeah, I was younger.
My hair didn't quite look like this. It was much bigger, much thicker. And she didn't have the skills to maintain it, to handle it. So she thought that she was doing a good thing by giving me relaxers. And of course, now 30 something odd years later, we're figuring out that wrong.
Right.
It's terrible. So, and it's little things like that and a ton of products that I feel like over the years are going to continue to come out and to be revealed and exposed that they're just horrible for us.
Right. So when you change the product, I'm interested in this laundry detergent. Mm-hmm. When you went from store-bought to natural laundry detergent, what did you put in your laundry detergent?
So actually, I still do it. I don't use a store-bought detergent. I simply use baking soda and distilled vinegar.
Okay.
I use essential oils to give it a pleasant smell because it won't have a bad smell. It just won't have a smell. And I think that some people are looking for this lavender, fresh, clean scent. Well, it is clean, and I understand that it's clean, but because I think it's just a transition, sometimes I'll put lemon essential oil or lavender essential oil, whatever I have on hand, honestly. And sometimes I don't use anything. I just use the baking soda and vinegar, just depending on what it is. But I don't have that same concern and those same worries about the dyes and the effects of the chemicals and the synthetic ingredients that are associated with it.
Yeah. And Christine, I know you're really intentional about your dietary restrictions. And even when you go out to eat, you do a great job. Like, do they have gluten-free options? So earlier you mentioned it with the social wellness. How do you keep your stuff in line?
Well, I can speak to the laundry detergent also because I had a lot of allergies when I was a kid. And I was a kid back in the 70s and 80s when we had colored toilet paper, which for any kid, and especially any female that has colored toilet paper, it's not a good thing. It's not a good combo.
pH balance,
Well, it's not even that. Like if you got an allergy, it's not good. So I learned pretty early on, like I had to go all natural, and I could not, my products could not have extra ingredients in it. So, I use a lot of all clear and all free things. I have done my own laundry detergent before. I always feel like I'm on one of those shows like Little House on the Prairie when I'm doing it. But Ryka, we're going to have to talk offline about your actual, because I had this whole big thing. Like it would take I'd do the whole thing. Like I'd be batching it and it sounds like you don't do that. It sounds really easy. So we'll have to talk about that. Or you could just tell the listeners how easy it is, if it is.
Well, so I haven't personally made my own laundry detergent. Some tasks I tend to shy away from if I feel like it's going to be daunting. I have 2 kids. So my son is 10 now and my daughter is 18. On top of me working, a full-time job, trying to, run this business.
Yes.
It's a lot. It's a lot. If it takes a lot out of me, then I would just rather stick to the baking soda and vinegar. because that's very simple, and then the baking soda and vinegar combo can be used to clean a ton of things, not even just your laundry. So
And what are your proportions?
That's funny. So my grandmother taught me how to cook right when I was young. She didn't actually teach me, but I was used to be in the kitchen with her, right?
Yes.
And she doesn't measure anything. So I kind of have that bad. I do have like a little scooper in there. So if I had to guess, I would say like for a large load, like maybe a half a cup to a cup of baking soda. And then I just kind of like pour the vinegar in there.
How many circles do you do? You do 3 circles?
I do about 2.5 or 3 circles. Yeah.
Okay.
I love that.
I do make sure I cover all of the baking soda with the vinegar. And it feels like science class. You'll get that fizz.
Yeah.
And then I know it's got a hold to it, and I just let it go.
Got you.
Super fun.
Courtney says,
Coach
hey,
Coach
Co. She says she likes lemongrass.
Ooh, lemongrass is a good one.
That's a good one. Okay, so we talked, and I'm glad that you asked that, Christine, because I was definitely thinking, Ryka, when you said baking soda and vinegar, I don't know, I was gonna mix it and have it ready already. Would you not recommend that? You think it's gonna bubble and then take up too much space in a container?
So the only thing is that, once things stay mixed for a period of time, then you have to worry about the separation. Is it still going to have that reaction that it needs to have with the clothes?
Got it. That
That's
makes
the only
sense because that's what
premix.
that's what takes
That is what
the
actually
stains
cleans.
off.
Yes,
Got
absolutely.
it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And I think
Now,
about it. Go ahead. Are you going to ask her a
well,
question?
no, I wanted to ask Christine. Well, I wanted to kind of comment on something that she mentioned in the very beginning.
Yeah.
It had me tickled in the green room when she was talking about her age and her intolerance to certain things. And in the
Right.
creative hour, I am one of those people with the creative hour. I keep some Post-its and a pen by my bed because I feel like I get these ideas in the middle of the night. And if I don't write them down when I wake up, they're gone.
Right.
So I don't have a
Right.
choice but to give in to that urge and get up and write those down.
Well, I love that you say a Post-it note and a pen because I was reading an article this morning about what they say not to do when you wake up in the middle of the night, which y'all guess. What's the number
Grab your
one thing we're not grab our phone, right? And it's our number one habit. Often, I know mine, and I've tried to
I keep it in
move it
another
away
room.
from my bed. You do? See, and I have a friend and we tried to do that, and I haven't made it happen yet.
Okay.
So I've got to sort that out because it's just habit. You roll over and like often I'll put notes on my phone, but then by then you're awake. So I like the Post-it note and the pen, like go back to old school and when I'm traveling, like when I'm at home, I have a clock. We have this really cool clock that projects onto the screen with a different light. So it's not supposed to wake you up. Like you're just supposed to roll over, see it, and it's like a blip, right?
Right.
But when I'm traveling, I don't have that. So I'll grab my phone to, and then it's all over.
Well, know, with the phone is that blue light is going to definitely 100% of the time disturb your sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
I think all that goes under physical wellness, right? I think it really does about our sleep and how much we're on our electronics nowadays and just all the things that tie into that.
Yes.
I had to be very, very intentional with my physical wellness, especially being a body worker, because I am so concerned with everyone else's ailments and how everyone else is feeling that I often ignore myself. So I've had to be very intentional in this season with that.
Yeah.
Well, you are a helping professional. And that falls right in line, Ryka, with the statistics of helping professionals and what we tend to do, which is to put other people first, which I was watching this young man on social media this week, and he did this really great illustration he had a glass of water. Did y'all see this?
No, what happened?
So he had a glass of water, and then he had 3 short waters behind it. And he said, if you don't fill up, it's things we know, right? If you don't fill up your glass, you don't have anything to pour. So he did like a half a glass, right? And he poured out to family, he poured out to work, he poured out to community, and there was nothing left. So then he filled the glass all the way up, and then he poured out, and there was still stuff left in the glass. So, a simple analogy that we know to be true, but it was really good to see it in that form. About fill that self-care glass all the way to the top because then you can pour out for everybody and still have some left.
And I'm going to be devil's advocate, right? And I really like what Iyanla Vanzant said in one of her books that I read. And she was talking about giving other people from the saucer, not even pouring to them from the cup. The cup is for me, right? And the extra. So that's for my life or what I need. And then the extra can be for the other people. So to keep yourself that full, that's where you're at. And that's what we're working on. And sometimes in different seasons, it ebbs and flows, right? On Glow Day, I was asking the ladies what percentage they like to stay at. Some people said, I don't like to get below 80%. Right. And then the moms came in and said, oh, that's so cute. You guys get to stay at 80%. Right. Like, no, let me tell you how I move this percentage around. So it changes. Yeah.
Yes, it definitely does. I think for me, I don't know. I probably tend to hover somewhere right around like 40. I feel like my kids get, I don't want to make it sound like such a negative thing. I'm okay with, I guess for now being in that space. I like to be present. I like to be available with my family. So I don't want to give so much to the world or to my job or a client that when I get home, I have nothing left to give them.
It's important.
So I guess I just try to make sure, that I'm intentional again, about how much I'm giving other people, because there have been times and seasons that I probably was giving way too much and then had nothing left for myself at the end of the day. You and I talked about that recently at your event, and I was having a horrible weekend and week, and I had no time to decompress. I had given myself no room to let go of everything that I had picked up that week.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all, this is a great place to take a break, take a deep breath, and hear from our awesome sponsors that make Women Connected in Wisdom podcast possible. Shannon, we are so grateful that Shealo Glow is the sponsor of the Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. And I wanted to take this moment to ask you, when you think about the people who use Shealo Glow, who are we talking about?
That's a good question. I think about 3 groups, really. One, the group that's removing hair, right? So whether you're using laser hair removal, waxing, shaving, you got to make sure that you're putting back what you're taking out. The second group, I think about those with dry skin and the problems that might cause, right? The scars, itching, burning, whatever the situation is, you definitely need all 3 steps, right? The exfoliation, making sure you're taking the dead skin cells off. The oil, putting in the moisture, and then the shea butter with the aloe, sealing it, helping you heal. Those things help both groups, right? And third, for the third group is those with chronic illness. The story is personally from cancer and different diseases that our population is dealing with on a daily basis throughout families as individuals. So I'm thinking about my mom and my grandmother and those around me with the same generational ties, right? And what positive, healthy habits we can start to make sure that we're maintaining our wellness, especially because the skin is like the cape, the exterior, the shield for your immune system. So with COVID, we have to be intentional about covering ourselves. And those are the groups I think about.
I love it. And you know what else I love about your product? It's all natural, handmade, and it smells great, y'all. So
esthetician tested. Yes, esthetician tested and approved. Yes. What about you? When you think about your company, what groups of people do you think about?
Well, I work with individual coaching clients. I work in community classes and with corporate teams. And with all of them, I use a strength-based, embodied approach to help folks connect with themselves and access joy, reduce burnout, and build resilience. Especially during these times, I think we need it. I think we need all the #partnership power we can get.
Yes. And I've been thinking about that conversation since, and a lot of people are like, oh, I need to have that conversation about asking for help, right? So I hear you on I'm pouring out to other people, and I need to be intentional about putting myself first. I need to be intentional about asking for help, and those things for me, as I've gotten better at them, have helped sustain the percentage for me,
Okay.
And even like you said, what I used to think, especially being a restaurant manager, let's say before COVID, we closed at 10. Right at 9:00, all the servers are like, oh, it's power hour. It's the last hour less. And then I realized it's not power hour. Power hour is 10:00 to 11, because you're going to get set right before 10:00, and you're going to be mad when you have to take great care of these guests. Don't be mad at the guests. Be thankful for the opportunity to make some more money, right? And realistic about when we're going to get out of here. And that fourth corner energy, for me as a manager, wasn't even the server's power hour, because after they're gone, we still got to clean up paperwork, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But then I had to adjust again, because that's not fourth quarter. Fourth quarter is when I get home, because you still have to have more energy, right? So it's like the expectations, realistic expectations, and being intentional about pouring into myself outside of that time. What am I doing to stay full of life and now spend time with my guy kids, or do facials, or keep running on my schedule, so that when I'm there, I feel like I have what I need and my non-negotiables are taken care of, and then I can pour out from the overflow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Christine, I know we talked about one. I want to know more about this this colored toilet paper, and then we could talk about how you hold the standard on your food. What is that about? What?
Right? Well, it was a thing back in the 70s and 80s. Oh, they had pink, they had peach, they had blue, they had green. Like, it would match the shag covers. You remember, Ryka? I don't know how old you are, Ryka, but you know what they used to have, Shannon, in the 70s and 80s? They'd have these shag covers that would go over the toilet cover.
And then
It
the
was like a
rug.
lid cover, and it would go, the rug would match, and the back of the thing, and then it would match the toilet paper. It was a thing in the late 70s and early 80s. It was, yeah.
Wow.
It was a thing. And I hope that fad doesn't come back. You know how fads often circle? We're not speaking that into existence coming back, right?
No, we're not. We're not.
I want to lift up a comment that Courtney said real quick, who's listening today. Courtney says, I've heard that it's about plugging into the source so your cup can run over and overflow to others. So an empty cup is a sign of being unplugged from the source. Oh, I love that input, Courtney.
I do love that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because and I was thinking about it last week, and I try to be very honest on the show. And I checked myself on something I said, because we were talking about social wellness, right? And I said something, I said, that's what I've been thinking about for social wellness. And there's been a lot to think about for social wellness with what's been going on, and I think I like that, Cole. I mean, I know I like that, because that's the only way that I stay above 50% with everything that's going on, because things will drain you or pull you. And, knowing that my body is important, despite how some people in America might feel, I can stay anchored and solid and confident and, with peace that surpasses understanding, because that's where I get my confidence from. Ooh, look at this. You got another compliment on the hair, Ryka. Your hair is cute. I told you.
Thank you, Shayla. That's my friend.
Hey, you said Shealo?
Shayla, yes.
Hey, Shayla. So yeah, it's really important, and especially there was this, you were talking about social media, Christine, this situation in Montgomery, Alabama. And we usually don't bring up everything. You saw it? We usually don't bring up everything on the show. And we're intentional about it, because being like the news has a certain effect on people, right? On our physical wellness, like we're talking about, the mirror neurons, like it's a thing when you see something and then it physically impacts you, or your psychology, your mental and emotional wellness, because you see yourself or somebody that you could care about, things like that, right? But it was interesting to me, right, Courtney, especially being from Alabama. But again, it just goes back to, for me, it was, okay, do you have what you need for your own physical wellness? And then who are those people around you, where if you need help, we were talking about asking for help, they're going to come and help you. And this is not always this type of situation, right? But just in life, when we're dealing with different things with our physical wellness, whether it's consistent doctor's visits or things like this that should be necessities, but do feel like luxuries, especially when we're talking about, money, and we talk about the wage gap for Black women. It'd be beautiful to say, of course, yeah, it's a necessity. Let's just move the money over in the budget and go to the chiropractor, get our nails and feet done, and keep the hair retwisted and keep everything in the budget. But it's not always that simple.
I agree.
Well, and I think when we're talking about like massage therapy and stuff like that, some insurances cover it, some don't. And what I know, because for years my best friend was a massage therapist, like just the physical benefits of it, like it should be covered. It should be part of our healthcare. It should be part of like the therapeutic massage. It shouldn't be a question of, do we need to afford it or not? Like it should be covered. So it's my personal opinion.
I feel like part of that comes from the spa industry, if that makes sense.
The luxury part of it?
The luxury part of it comes from the spa. Like the spa industry is a $1 billion industry. The beauty industry is a $1 billion industry. So they kind of cater to those numbers. And I think that is where the whole idea of massage just being a luxury comes from. You walk into this spa, you're offered champagne, and would you like to sit in our quiet room, and all of these great things. But at the end of the day, the work that we're doing is more beneficial than just a girl's day.
An add-on. And what I think about is where we are now and what we know and what we practice. Hold on, let's see what Courtney says. She says, is there a difference between, okay, so I'll hold my comment and I will love you ladies' opinions on this. Is there a difference between medical massages and spa-related massages?
Personally, from working in a spa, I feel like there is no difference. The only difference is the location. That's just a personal opinion. I feel like when I get somebody in a spa in that private room, I am working on what you want me to work on. I am trying to address the issues that you're having, whether it is just for pure relaxation or whether you're saying, my traps are hurting. I slept wrong last night. I have a crook in my neck. So when we say medical massage, yes, maybe there are some differences, of course, because you're probably targeting something on a more regular basis. Most people who are coming to the spa are only coming once a month, honestly, if we're being, quite honest. Even less regular than that.
Right.
But if you're talking medical massage, that is usually a more consistent thing.
Mm-hmm. So what came up for me when she said it was the different types of massages, right? Like you have the Swedish massage, you have different things that you can get. But I also hear you saying when you come into the room, I'm going to target the areas that you asked me to. Is there a difference between the massages, or are
Absolutely.
there just okay?
A Swedish massage would be something very superficial with the body. It's very light. It's really for pure relaxation. It does still have the benefits of affecting the fascia the way it does, affecting the muscles the way it does. But it just may be a lighter, more relaxing touch. I may not be targeting anything. Some people will tell you, I know that you're going to feel some knots. Don't try to work them out. It's fine. I don't want to be in any sort of pain. I don't want to feel that. I just want to relax. Okay?
Got it.
So I'm here to serve you and what you're looking for. Now, if you want something deeper, then of course we have the deep tissue. We can do a hot stone massage. My favorite personally is the sports.
Yeah. All of that.
Right? So sports, the difference in sports is it includes stretching, which I heard you mention earlier. Stretching is so very beneficial for our muscles, for our bodies. Stretching is something that I have incorporated in my morning routine these days, because if I do not do it at 41, when I get out of this bed, if I don't stretch, by the time I put my hands on 3 or 4 people, I'm walking out like this.
Oh, no, like you slept on your side.
Yes, absolutely. So yes, there are definitely different modalities and different things and muscle groups that we can target. It's all, it's all about that connection with your guest and your client to know what they need, to understand their goals from that service and what their body needs.
And earlier, Coach Cole, one of the comments we lifted up was that she loves the lemongrass and Shealo glow, right? So that's what I think about. I don't get to go to my sports massage therapist that I like to go to every month right now, but you can massage yourself. You know what I mean? There might be the quick way. You can do the oil and the shea butter. You can do it in less than 2 minutes. If you want to take 10 minutes, absolutely. Foot massage, calf massage, thigh, everything, So if right now it doesn't make sense in your budget, you can still get the benefits of the relaxed tension, the increased sleep, the increased circulation, like Ryka was talking about. And what I was going to say before we ask Courtney's question is that, when we come from slavery to where we are now, it makes sense. Just like the products that are in the stores and the different things that we face, this has not been hey, this is exactly what you need to take pristine care of yourself up into your last day, So we talk about not shooting on ourselves or beating ourselves up for where we are. And I feel like a lot of times when we realize something that might be a necessity wasn't included on our list, we can feel that way. Like, oh, well, why didn't I think about this? Or why haven't I been doing it already? But there's things that make sense when you look at it that might have made it difficult or not have been included on your list before.
And I feel like if massage is not always in the budget, then stretching can kind of replace that. And I say kind of because, of course, you may not be able to get specifically to certain muscle groups or to certain areas of the body, but it still gives you that release of that tension. It still can, help keep you agile. Something you said earlier, Christine, it can help you in the definition of physical wellness that you gave. It helps you thrive and not just survive,
Yes.
Right. I have 2 things I want to say before we move towards wisdom in action. Yeah. So, Ryka, talking about, I'd like to ask for you to explain to our listeners, especially if they've never been for a massage, like how do they pick a massage therapist? How do they know that it's a safe place? Because I think that's the other thing is sometimes massage gets a bad rap because, you know, the massage therapists you see on the news are the ones that got busted for doing things they weren't supposed to be doing, right? But there are a lot of certified, licensed massage therapists in, you know, the world. So how does somebody find a good massage therapist? How do they find you? And then I have y'all remind me to circle back around to something that's funny about massage.
I got you.
So I feel like massage as a whole, I mean, you know, when we're in training and when we're in school, we learn about the way that, you know, massage is related to the sex industry, and they still do it to this day. I've read an article recently about a Netflix special that kind of put massage therapists and body workers in a negative light, in a sexual light. And so I think it's something that we're fighting equally as much as the, you know, people who are trying to find us. So I think it's as simple as conversation. You know, you don't know, you know, so I work off of mobile apps as well. And you don't know when you're going to someone's home. I don't know what they're going to be like. They don't know what I'm going to be like. So I think it's like trusting your gut, trusting your instinct. I pray personally before I go into any session, before I go into anyone's home, because I don't know what I'm walking into. And then it's about building that rapport thereafter. You know, if we have a good session, if the energy is positive in that room, you know, in that home, then I try to say, you know, hey, you can request me again. We can, you know, maybe connect outside of these apps, however we do that. But I don't think there's one answer or one approach to finding a good person. I think it's more about you trusting your gut and your instinct about about that person.
Now, if somebody wants to come to Bliss Massage and Wellness Center, do you have a physical location that they can come to?
I do not currently. I do not have a brick and mortar. I am completely mobile, but baby, I will pull up. Okay.
But you go to people's homes, which is awesome. Like if people, especially with COVID, with different things, if people aren't comfortable, like you will pull up with your massage table.
Yeah, I have a table and a chair, so I can come to your office. I can come to
and she's coming to the retail space at the end of the month. So she'll be at the Shealo Glow event for August, and that's going to be on the 26th from 1 to 4.
Yes.
Right? So you can book for events and wellness.
Absolutely.
Oh, super fun.
Yeah.
I love that. So talking about not being able to afford massages, like the different things that you can do. So one year when we had young kids for Christmas, my husband in his stocking got a book about how to give a good foot massage.
I've been thinking about that book.
This is just a tip for anybody out there that has partners. And he was so excited to get it, and then he was so excited to practice. And can I tell you how excited I was to be the recipient of that practice?
Yeah.
So just saying, there are some books out there too that you can just, you know, give as gifts to your loved ones.
There's always YouTube University. Okay, you can
find
anything on there. I love a good foot rub, so I get it.
Right.
Okay, so each week we do a hashtag wisdom in action for what you're working on for that dimension of wellness. So Ryka, what are you doing for yourself for physical wellness this week?
For physical wellness this week, I am just trying to, school started back this week. Okay. So I have just worked on my morning routine. That has been my big focus this week. I'm up at 5. I am, and all of this is not physical wellness, but it does tie into my physical wellness.
Right.
So I'm doing my devotion. I'm reading my word. I am, you know, journaling. I am stretching. I am making breakfast. I'm just making sure that we are all on a good page mentally every morning. My son is not a morning person. He is not excited. He's excited once he's up and once he's out of that groggy state. But until he's there, he's like, I call him Grumpy Smurf in the morning. So that is one of our things that we're working on this week is just that morning routine, you know, just getting into that space of being happy, to be awake and, you know, making sure that we are filling that cup up connected to the sources, as Coach Co said, you know, and just making sure that we're the that I'm able to pour into him before school starts, and that we're off to a good start and we're having a good day.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to all our mamas and parents and teachers. Coach Co's one of our teachers that listens.
Yes.
Like, this start of school is the real deal for these new routines and taking care of yourself. So
I saw something online that said some moms start their kids early. Did you ladies ever do that? Start them early at waking up so the first week of school is easier? You said no, it's the last week of summer. Sleep. Okay.
Let's go ahead and
that is way too much planning. Like, I think if you're a type, and no shade on the type A moms that did that, but that was definitely not my role. It was going to be brutal the first 3 days anyway. So, like, and usually the first day wasn't bad because kids were so excited to be up and go or nervous or excited. It was the day 2 and 3 that are the toughies. They're like, yeah, okay, we've been there, done that. I want to sleep. Like, no, can't.
Yeah. Monday and Tuesday, he was fairly positive. This morning, I woke him up and he was like, good morning. I was
Grumpy
like,
Smurf.
Morning,
Got it. Yes. I like that. Okay, my wisdom in action this week, I would say stay consistent. I wasn't going to work out this morning. And then I saw a post on Instagram from one of my followers that I follow back, and she was consistent in the gym. I said, you know what? I have my clothes. Let me go ahead and work out like I was planning on working out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So stay consistent. What about you, Christine?
Well, I am at this gorgeous retreat center, and I am, after today, I am going to be focused on the conference and the retreat. So I am going to #connect because it's all about connecting with these awesome artists and activists. And I think mine's going to be #connect and #rest. I think it's going to be a combo of both. But I can tell you, like, we haven't been together in person in 3 years. So, like, I felt my physical wellness meter just go up, up, up with every hug I got yesterday with people I adore. It was like, whoa, my little hug meter was just so happy. So that's mine. #connect and #rest.
I love it. Well, Ryka, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to talk about massage, and now I'm going to try this. I might try the distilled vinegar and baking soda. We have some things on the list to try.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, ladies, for having me. It was definitely a great conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will put the link to your website in our show notes so folks can call you. And what is the service area that if they call you, you can get to them?
Whew. So that's, with this Atlanta traffic and mileage and the way it's all set up. I live in Alpharetta. So I try not to go too far outside of that. Like 25 miles is like my max because once you get past that 25 miles, we're talking more than an hour drive. So
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will put the link to Bliss Massage and Wellness. And thank you so much, Ryka, for your work in the world and taking care of bodies and just helping us to stay physically well. We appreciate you, and we're glad to be connected.
As well. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
So fun.
That's good. Increase sleep. I knew that it relaxed you. I don't know if I would have said massage therapy can increase your sleep.
Right.
It makes sense, though.
I wanted to say #get a massage. And if there's one close by, like, I'll see if I can sort that out. But I didn't want to say it and not be able to do it this week. But it's definitely on the wish list. It just may not be this week because it's been way too long. So good stuff. All right. What you got coming up this week? Anything folks need to know about as we wrap this season?
Yes. So this week we are going to be at El Patio in Atlanta. So we have the retail space on Auburn Avenue that you guys know and have been to. We'll be a few streets over. And like I mentioned, we do have our event at the retail space at the end of the month. If you want to come see Ryka and get that lemongrass Shealo glow that Coach Co was talking about and enjoy some of Ryka's massage therapy, we're going to have that available for you so we can work on decompressing.
Right. And we'll put that in the show notes.
And I actually have a third event for the weekend because it is Black Business Month, right? So at Spark, we're having a Black Business Bash that's going to be at the 19th. So the 19th and the 26th will be on Auburn Avenue. This Saturday, we will be at El Patio.
So fun. So fun. Well, all right, my friend. This was awesome. Great conversation about physical wellness. And we'll be back next week live at 5.
For the recap. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, ladies, for listening. In the meantime, don't forget,
be well,
be wise, and be whole. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Thanks for listening. This has been the Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. On air live on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern via Facebook and YouTube. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be part of the conversation and get connected at womenconnectedinwisdom.com.